And hello everybody, welcome back to Runescape. Today we have a daily challenge to cut 120 willow logs. Now, if I look at it, I'm pretty damn sure that I have to redeem my challenge, so I have to remember not to burn them or fletch them. What axe am I using? 1 second. What axe am I using? I'm using a steel hatchet. I'm pretty sure I can do better than that now. Tools. Yeah, I could be using an adamant hatchet. We're going to Lumbridge, guys. We're making a stop at Lumbridge. Although, no. I'm level 35 and I get to use the not trees. Tools. I get to use rune at 41. We're not that far away. We're halfway there. We'll stick with the steel for now, I guess. Then again, I'm not going to be able to buy rune for quite some time. This is a pickle. I'm not quite sure what to do. I'm thinking I will go and buy an adamant hatchet, just because it looks embarrassing to be using a steel one. Yeah, I will. Alright, so, home port to Lumbridge. And we'll do this. I honestly have no conversational topics today. I have absolutely, literally nothing to talk about. There's nothing. Everything that's going on you've already heard about. Everything that there is to talk about in the game you've already heard about. Alright, buy 1 adamant hatchet. That's not too much money, actually. Add it to the tool belt. Back to Draenor. So yeah, we're going to continue to do quests. Next quest I do will probably be either Goblin Diplomacy or which one? I might actually want to do One Piercing Note. I don't typically like voice-acted quests, but that one is a entirely self-contained quest that you don't have to... I don't think you have to have any items for it whatsoever. None. Yeah, there's no combat, there's no items. It's basically a gimme. You just do it. Alright. Although, thinking about it, have you ever wondered what my tool belt must actually look like? I mean, seriously, I must have like 15 bandoliers strapped to my body under these robes or something. Like 15 bandoliers filled with crap. With all the crafting molds, all the various tools, and I don't just mean an adamant hatchet. I mean, I've got an adamant hatchet, a steel hatchet, an iron hatchet, and a bronze hatchet, all hanging from a belt somewhere. Because I sure as hell didn't drop them, because I would have seen that. Oh, cool, I can do Lost City, or part of it, anyways. I have one of the requirements. Lost City is actually a really important quest. It gets you access to a whole new section of the game. You do Lost City, and then you do Fairy Tale Part 1, and then part of Part 2, I think... Do you have to do part of it? I don't remember now. I know you have to do part of Part 2. Yeah. You just part of Fairy Tale Part 2, and you get access to the Fairy Ring Network, which are these mushroom circles. I'm going to go down there and see if we can grab a look at one. These mushroom fairy rings, which are a real thing in Britain, by the way. Rings of mushrooms that grow in concentric circles. There's a biological reason for it, but mythology says that those are fairy rings, and that the Fae would come to them. You know, the Fae, the little people, the fairies that are not exactly all pretty and cute like we remember them now. But that they were places of power for them, much like Stonehenge was to the ancient druids. But in RuneScape, anyways, we can use these to essentially teleport ourselves around the world to other fairy rings. So, but you need to do Lost City and then Fairy Tale Part 1 and 2 in order to get to access to them. But they are pretty much single-handedly the most useful travel method that I know of. The most useful travel method that you earn that I know of. They take you to so many places that there are no other convenient routes to. It's crazy. Speaking of crazy, I believe I am getting sick. I have got this sharp, persistent pain, like, down in my throat, like something's stuck there. But it's not. And then, like, I'm getting congested, too, so I'm probably going to drug myself up with, Dayquil before I go into work today. I don't want to take too much of that crap, though. Yeah, I definitely want this account to do membership eventually, but I need more money first. I need you guys to pay me to be able. No, I don't need that. I don't need that yet. Why do I have 2 Troll Lieutenant's bones that I've picked up? Have I picked up Troll Lieutenant's bones before? That's interesting. Whatever, I'm closing in on 1,000 bones picked up. That's pretty cool. And this will make 38 once I'm done with this one. Coins I've obviously picked up the most of. Feathers, tons of them. Oh man, so many just like things. Yep, that's 38. Just like random ass crap. And what's it gonna look like? What's it gonna look like once I become a member and I have access to like 1,000,000 different items? I can't even think. How many items are there even in membership? There's got to be hundreds of thousands of unique items, probably millions in members. And most of them, most of them won't even stick around in your bank for more than a minute or two, but God, it's just so much shit. And every single one of them is going to be logged in this damned log. But nothing will ever replace Reese's offhand sword. My first ever item, apparently, that I've picked up. The chef's hat. But it wasn't, though, because I killed goblins well before I did that quest. So. This will be, by the way, episode 39. Jesus Christ, almost a month and a half of RuneScape. Well, a month and a week. A month and a little over a week. Every day, 30 minutes a day, at least. With some shorter episodes, so we'll call it 30 minutes for convenience's sake. Equals that divided by 60, 19 and a half hours of RuneScape so far. So call it 20 hours. I think rounding up 5 hours is not going to hurt anything. 20 hours of gameplay so far. That's as much as most modern day AAA FPS AAA first person shooter single-player campaigns give you. So, you know, I've already beaten them in time gotten, and I've paid less money. Summer's End, no one cares about. Cursed Willow Tree Roots. It's not that no one cares about it. It does unlock a boss, or it's part of unlocking a boss, but I've not been interested, really. Yeah. 20 hours is as much as most single-player campaigns in most modern FPSs. You know, like the Call of Duties or whatever. You don't get more than 20 hours in those games now. Because single-player campaigns are irrelevant. I watched a video from Extra Credits. They do a bunch of, like, gaming-related... Not gaming-related. They do game theory, game design, industry stuff, and stuff like that. I find them to be a bit too... not biased, but, like, a bit too pro AAA studios, though. Like, a bit too supportive of them when they do terrible things. Like, they don't support things like loot boxes, but they did put out a video that said, well, you know, maybe they're paying for development, blah, blah, blah. No. I'm sorry. But they were saying that games that if we went strictly by the same... Okay, so back in 2005, apparently, and I vaguely remember this, the price of a AAA console game and computer game went from $50 to $60 to reflect how much more difficult it was now to make games, how much more expensive it was to make games in a 3D in 3D technology instead of the old 2D style, right? You know, you had to have more graphics, more processing power, you know, more programming in general. Which, you know, fine, I understand that. That is a very real technological leap from 2D to 3D. And that's more than just, oh, now you move in 3 dimensions. No, because that's like, now all of the images and items and, like, okay, in a 2D game, this might be my perspective. I'd still be able to move up and down, maybe even jump, but it would never, the camera wouldn't change from this, which would mean that the backside of these trees doesn't necessarily have to exist. You wouldn't need to make a skin for the back of the tree. You just have to show the tree from this angle alone. So you couldn't rotate around, so the back of the tree would be empty. It'd be half the work. But then they moved to 3D, and even we saw this in RuneScape Classic as well. For those of you who've actually played RuneScape Classic, and I have, a lot of the item textures, if you rotated the camera, would actually rotate with the camera, so they'd always be facing the camera, and they'd just be flat, static, you know? Character models and monster models and whatnot would just be flat little pasteboard things that moved around, essentially. But then you move to a 3D, and all of a sudden, you could do that. And if they went with the old programming style, you could see the blank, you know, the whatever default they used for a blank texture on the back of the tree. All of a sudden, they needed a texture for the whole tree from any angle it might be viewed at. So now they had to render a full 3D model for a tree, which is not just, you know, it's not just a multiplier. It is an exponentially more time-intensive thing to do than it would be to just, you know, model a static image. So I get that, you know, prices went up because it was harder to make on a 3D system. The point is, we haven't had that sort of technological leap, except for maybe VR. Yeah, VR, I could say, is that same level of tech leap. But most games are not being made in VR. And apparently, according to industry metrics of how much they're spending on games these days, games should cost roughly $120 a piece, if I remember their number correctly. And even they said, no, fuck that, no one will ever pay that. People will just run away in panic if they try and pay that. So what they did, so they're like, oh well, we could theoretically. These guys on the video were saying we could theoretically raise the price to $70 a piece, but the focus testing and market testing that game companies have already done on that score have told them no, customers will not pay that. Customers will not be willing to pay $70 a piece, or even 65. They are willing to pay 60 because that's the older ones. That's what they got used to, and the newer ones, that's all they've ever known. The older gamers and the newer gamers, they either got used to 60 or it's all they've ever known, and you can't ask them to change now, apparently. So apparently, this was extra credits approach. If you can't raise the price of a game, even though you're getting more customers, it's not enough to pay for the game on its own, so you have to find alternative revenue. You have to be able to find new ways to make sure that your game makes money. So of course, naturally, you have to use some form of micropayment scheme. Loot boxes, skins, micropayments for leveling or whatever. It's a bit ridiculous, really. And of course, my idea is, when we have games like Hellblade that came out just recently that looks like a AAA game but was made with 20 people and on less than a quarter of their budget. Doomed.com, I have come to laugh at you. Okay, have fun with that. When you got games like Hellblade that are made on a quarter of their budget or less, with 20 people on the team instead of hundreds, and looks exactly like a AAA game, when you have games like Minecraft and others that are vast and have thousands and thousands of hours of gameplay that are graphically backwards, when you have games like, oh god, I don't even know. When you have all of these, when you've got 150 games a day practically releasing on Steam, most of which are shit, true, but plenty of which are not, you have to start to wonder how much of the AAA gaming industry's money is being funneled into actual games, and how much of it is being funneled into paying for all the hangers-on that industry has accumulated. All of the managers, all of the the analysts and consultants, and all of the high-scale programming, like all, not programming, but like, really, Doomed.com? Yes, you are very clever. Now shut up. I'll be gone anyway, so I don't care if he responds or not. Really? Like, I'm here to laugh at you. Haha, you're dumb. You're chopping willows. You should be a high level like me. Well, yes. Shut up! I'm trying to click on the bank. Haha, you're chopping willows. You're dumb. You should be a high level. Why aren't you high level? Because we are literally new to the game. He represents all that is bad. He probably came from, old school. Any rate. Yeah, you have to wonder how much, the consultants and the spa treatments for their professionals and like their everything, really. 6 magic logs. Are you serious? I can actually use them, though? Well, shit, okay, I'll keep them. Alright, and now I'm level 40. Frenetic Trials, oh nice. And I can get a Fractite Hatchet in Demonheim, which is great. Which also makes that my highest level skill. Still not 1% of the way there. Alright, so, let's port to Alcarid. But yeah, how much of their budget is being taken up by frivolous crap and uselessness, and how much of it is real? You know, how much of it is actually being spent on the game, making a game? Because I don't know the numbers. I'm not an industry professional or anything. But I would venture a guess, based on what I've seen coming out of these studios, that the answer to that question is not much is being spent on actually making a game. Most of it is being spent on frivolous crap. Most of their money and time is being spent on frivolous crap. Oh crap, no wait. The Sitharid Abbey, where is that? Ah, I went the wrong way, goddammit. That's the mage training arena, I don't want that. I want the Sitharid Abbey. Yeah, and I think if a game company, say Bethesda, were to refocus itself, trim away the fat, and by the fat I mean the fat cats up at the top, get trimmed. If they were to cut away as many superfluous positions as possible and refocus themselves on making games, they could make the Elder Scrolls 6. 6? Yeah, 6. I had to remember for a second. They can make Elder Scrolls 6 for a quarter the cost of Skyrim.
Hey, are you going to the Abbey?
Yes. Yes.
Well, if you're heading to the Abbey, you should keep your ears open. Their music is famous all over the world. I can hear them sometimes, when the wind is right. Times like that, I don't mind I'm not catching any strike worms.
One piercing note quest is fully voice acted and features live recorded music. I recommend you turn your sound on in order to get the most out of it. Yeah, this was the first fully voice acted quest.
Thanks, Saradomin. You must be the adventurer the abbess prayed for.
Oh yes, I have come to answer your prayers.
Our abbess prayed for an adventurer to come and help us. She asked me to stand here and wait for you to arrive. Will you help us, adventurer? Saradomin,
Oh, I'll help you. I'll help you so hard.
The abbess's office is just inside the wall. Go in through the gate and head north.
Toggle map hints off. Talk to Abbess Benita.
Adventurer, thanks Saradomin you've come.
Saradomin didn't send me. I sent
I
myself.
prayed for an adventurer to come, and you came. Saradomin works through us in ways we do not realize. I've called you here for a sensitive task, one that I would prefer to deal with quietly, without involving the church authorities or the Alcarid Guard. I hope I can trust you to be discreet.
Of course.
One of our sisters has been murdered. Murdered quite brutally. I would like you to investigate. The killer may still be in the Abbey. I last saw Sister Anna at Vespers yesterday. When she wasn't present at Compline, I went to her cell and found her body. The murder must have taken place between those times. This is the key to Sister Anna's cell, where I found her body. The cells are in the southeast corner of the Abbey. I moved Sister Anna's body to the infirmary in the southwest of the Abbey. I cleaned and wrapped it myself, and I've forbidden the other sisters from seeing it. You should also question the sisters around the Abbey, but please do so subtly. I don't want them to know there has been a murder. This notebook will help you keep track of your investigation.
Okay.
Come back to me when you've examined the crime scene and the body, and spoken to the sisters.
Well, this quest is going to take a long time, I'm afraid. Far longer than I remembered it taking. I'm wondering if I should just call it a quits for this episode here. Cells, by the way, do not imply prison cells. These are the cells. These are just rooms for the acolytes and whatever they're called. Sisters, yes. Rooms for the sisters. Very monastic. I'm thinking I shouldn't. Yeah, it'll only be 4 minutes early. We're gonna cut it off here, guys. We'll pick up the investigation next time. I'll see you then. Have fun.